Back in the day, Mulan went to war for her dad. Now, my dad's going to the palace beauty pageant for me. The tyrant emperor issued a decree. My family had to send a daughter to fill his people-eating harem. My dad, the so-called most handsome man in the capital, and also the prime minister, stomped his foot, gritted his teeth, pulled 2 fresh steamed buns out of his robe, stuffed them into his chest, and snatched the imperial summons right out of my hands. Forget it. I'll be the femme fatale who brings down this empire. Me and Mom just stood there, jaws on the floor, watching Dad climb into the bridal sedan chair. Mom, what if the buns in Dad's chest go bad? My dad, the kind of guy who soaks every strand of hair in milk, stood in front of the bronze mirror and let out his 108th sigh. Then he turned around, looked at me like I was a disappointment, and said, "Baby, it's not that Dad doesn't want to send you. It's just, those unfinished features of yours showing up at the palace would be a disgrace to the Lin family name." I had absolutely no comeback. I mean, he really was better looking than me. Meanwhile, Mom was cracking sunflower seeds on the side and actually said something reasonable. Dad pinched his fingers all delicate-like, stroked his own face, and said softly, "The Emperor? What does he know about beauty? He's a tyrant. He's a psycho. He's seen it all. Our daughter's face thrown into the harem is like a drop of water hitting a hot wok, gone before it even makes a sound. It's gotta be me." Me and Mom both dropped our sunflower seeds. "Dad, if you want to commit treason, just say so. No need to beat around the bush." Mom chimed in. "Lin, even with all our money, we still can't afford to bribe every blind doctor in the country." Dad let out a cold laugh, pulled a gold-trimmed fan from his sleeve, and snapped it open. Written on it, "Timeless Beauty." Who said anything about treason? I'm going to the beauty pageant. The imperial decree just says, "Daughter of the Lin family." It never specified a name. I'm Lin Ruhai, courtesy name beautiful woman. How does that not count as a Lin daughter? Mom gave him the most dead inside look. "You literally made up that courtesy name yesterday." Dad ignored her and walked into the bedroom. Half an hour later, the door opened. The imposing, untouchable prime minister was gone. In his place walked out an absolute siren, flowing fairy sleeves, hair ornaments trembling, eyes full of pure danger. That figure, those eyes, that deadly, innocent but dangerous energy, me and Mom completely speechless. Dad walked up to me and flicked his sleeve. A wave of perfume hit me in the face. "So? Think I can knock that tyrant completely off his feet?" I swallowed hard. "Dad, I really hate to admit this, but you're more seductive than my sister-in-law who just got married." Dad nodded with satisfaction. "Now that's what I'm talking about. This harem? It's gonna be all Lin from now on." Ha! Okay, real talk. My dad is a little unhinged. He's the prime minister, second only to the emperor, but his biggest hobby isn't politics. It's skincare and martial arts. Every single morning, without fail, he'd apply morning dew to his face, run through some mysterious palm technique, then drink a bowl of bird's nest soup. He always said, "A man's face is the key to power." Even at 40, his skin was as tight as a peeled, hard-boiled egg, not a single wrinkle in sight. Word on the street was that Chancellor Lin must be corrupt, because nobody that good-looking could possibly be a good person. As for his martial arts, that was a secret. One only I knew. One time, an assassin snuck into the study at midnight. Dad pinned him to the ceiling beam with a single embroidery needle. The guy hung there all night and showed up crying the next morning, begging Dad to take him as a disciple. Turns out that one needle had unlocked both of his main meridians, and it didn't end there. The assassin later became our household guard, spending every day learning from Dad how to use inner energy to pop blackheads. Bottom line, my dad is an enigma. Now, this beauty pageant the emperor called, officially it was to fill the harem, but really it was to hold noble families' daughters as hostages. Every official of the 3rd rank or above with a daughter of eligible age had to send her in. The tyrant was completely unpredictable. Word was that last month, a concubine got executed just for stepping into the imperial study with her left foot first. Me? I'm a deadbeat who's only good at eating. I'd be dead on arrival. But Dad's a Venus flytrap. The night before he left, Dad was messing around in the study all night. I figured he was writing a will or putting his affairs in order. But the next morning, I opened the door to find the desk covered in jars and bottles. "Dad, what is all this?" At that moment, Dad was busy stuffing 2 custom-made steamed buns into his chest. Once he was done, he looked at me and said, "These are the man-killer powders Dad mixed up overnight. The bloodline ender, the smiling madness poison. Oh wait, no, that one's the beauty pill. All of these are first meeting gifts for the tyrant." I stared at the buns, deeply conflicted. "Dad, if you get hungry in there, can you take those out and eat them?" Dad shot me a look. "This is called dignity, do you understand? A Lin woman must have a generous chest." All right, you definitely do have a generous chest, but what if the tyrant actually shows up?" Dad pulled a gleaming flexible sword from his boot, wrapped it around his waist, and it instantly became a diamond-studded belt. "Shows up? He better pray he's still alive by then, and if words don't work, I'll show him what it means to settle things physically." In that moment, staring at Dad's face, powdered and rouged, yet still radiating pure power, I suddenly felt kind of bad for the emperor. The day of the pageant, the sky was overcast. The wind howls, the river runs cold, a warrior departs never to return. Dad, dressed in a peach-pink court gown that somehow looked even more devastating than usual, walked toward the little pink sedan chair under the entire family's watchful eyes. The carriers were 4 big guys. The moment Dad sat down, the bottom of the sedan visibly sank. The carriers turned green on the spot. When it was time to lift, they gritted their teeth and hoisted the sedan up with everything they had. Mom stood at the gate, a handful of sunflower seeds in her hand, eyes getting red. "Lynn, if things get rough in there, write home. I'll bring money to buy you out." Dad pulled back the curtain. His eyes were fierce and unshakable. "Buy me out? If I can't make a name for myself in there, I'll quit being prime minister. Just wait. In 3 months, I will rule this harem." I watched the sedan disappear into the distance and turned to Mom. "Mom, is Dad going to a beauty pageant or is he going to war?" Mom spat out a sunflower seed shell, totally unbothered. "For him? No difference. Either way, someone's dying. Used to be he'd talk people to death in the royal court. Now he'll scare them to death with his face in the harem." I thought about Dad's face. Then I thought about the sword on his waist. Mom was right. This wasn't a beauty pageant. This was a maxed out character going to wipe out the starter zone. Outside the palace gates, the line of girls waiting to enter stretched on forever. Every single one of them was crying like it was a funeral. Fair enough. Once you walked through those gates, you were face to face with the legendary cold-blooded tyrant, Emperor Xiaojing. Rumor had it he was 8 feet tall, monstrous looking, and ate 3 children per meal. Of course, that was just gossip. When Dad arrived, things got awkward fast. Every other sedan touched down gracefully. Dad's sedan hit the ground like a bomb. All 4 carriers collapsed on the spot, foaming at the mouth. Every girl around them was so shocked they stopped crying. A perfectly manicured hand, long nails painted with crimson dye, slowly lifted the curtain. And then, a face that stopped the entire world peeked out.